Hello? I can't. I always hate the. Okay. Welcome to our podcast, Untapped. Today, we're talking with Chris Day, the one and only. Chris Day. All right. That's your intro.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
Feel good.
You
Feel good. Chris
feel
Day.
Chris
I like
Day.
That. Yeah.
That's your name.
I like that. Yeah. I've had it all my life. It seems to work.
Do you, whenever people say, hey, I like, it was that day when that happened, do you ever like go, hey, that's my last name?
I do sometimes, yeah.
Because when somebody says, hey, how about we go get a cup of Joe? I'm like, that's my name.
Yeah. Yeah, when people say, like, it's a holiday, and I'm like, yeah, that's me, in a way.
Or when they're talking about baby kangaroos and they say, oh, he had a Joey.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's what my
There's a little Joe
family
in
calls me
there.
is
Yeah.
Joey.
Little scruff
Well,
in the womb. Yeah.
But at least my name doesn't. Like, well, your name rhymes.
Yeah.
Like holiday. Well, not really. That's not a rhyme with day.
Well, I did get all my life, like when I show up at the bar with my old friends, they'll be like, Christmas Day, because my name's Chris, right? Or else I'll get Christopher Columbus Day, and they're like, is your middle name Columbus? So I'll get stuff like that quite a bit, Christopher Columbus. But when I was younger, let me go here,
Here we go.
kickball and dodgeball was my thing.
Oh, I thought they called you kickball.
No, they didn't call me
Oh.
kickball. That
That's
would
where
be
I
neat.
thought you were
But
going
no,
with that.
so kickball, dodgeball, sitting ducks, all that stuff. And they would call me Christopher or Ludacris. I was Ludacris before. Ludacris,
I
the
get
rapper.
that.
So that was me.
Were you like an intense kickball player?
Yeah, that was the
Dodgeball
most serious
player?
part of my day. Dodgeball, kickball. That was my time to get back at whoever, was against me. Didn't,
Right. On. You're like,
So
I don't
would-
want to be on his team. I want to be
Yeah.
the opposite team
Yeah.
so I can blast him in
Oh
the
yeah,
face.
yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. So my brother taught me how to throw the ball extremely hard, dodgeball, right? So that was the equalizer. We don't have those equalizers nowadays, right? There's like, they're like taking recess out and stuff
get
like
right
that, even,
into
right?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's no recess. And that was my time. Recess was my time. I didn't like my teacher. I didn't like this assignment. I had an outlet, though. I had something to look forward to. I'm going to throw my ball at somebody, and it's going to hurt them.
Pelt him in the face.
Nowadays, you don't have that, and you have to absorb your anger, and it kind of makes you.
Do they don't play dodgeball or anymore?
No, you can't. I think they have other things.
You're not allowed to
with,
throw a ball at somebody? Like a foamy
Not,
ball?
not to cause pain. Yeah, it's foam soft stuff. It's like furry
But
things.
yeah, I
or
mean, but
foam
like
things.
dodgeball never really caused pain unless you got really, like it
Yeah.
took a bullet to the
Well,
face.
yeah, and
That sucked.
that's what I did. That's my goal. That was my goal, was to do that. But
And now
yeah,
they
you
don't
can't.
even allow it
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah. So that was like therapeutic for me.
That's all. So, so it was Ludacris and what was Chris?
Christopher.
Christopher.
That was one of them. Yeah.
Christopher.
Kickball, dodgeball. Yeah.
What brother taught you to throw?
Charles, my oldest brother.
And
He taught me by throwing it. He first was like, sit there, try to catch this. So we was in the backyard in Brighton, right? Grandview Street, backyard. My brother's like, just stand there, try to catch this ball. He wound up, took like 3 steps. I mean, he was just like this, threw the ball. I mean, you could hear it in the wind spinning.
Is there like a curve to it? Like, or is it like?
Yeah. It would go so hard. It would like curve. It'd go down and all kinds of stuff.
Was it like sidearm?
No.
Over the arm.
It was over. So I really believe in like in the football thing. You go over.
Okay.
You never do the sidearm. Sidearm's cool and all, whatever.
Okay.
But you've got to go over. Like, I mean, with the dodgeball, you bring it all the way back nearly to the ground.
But
throw
there's
it
a
all the way over
technique
again.
to throwing it really
yeah.
hard. Because
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I used to throw a dodgeball.
Yeah. Oh, no, there's a very specific technique.
So it's kind of like throwing a fastball,
Yeah.
like in
Yeah.
baseball. Like
Yeah.
there's a technique to it. You just can't.
Yeah.
I mean, you throw hard, but you have to have
Oh, yeah.
your hand in the right placement, your
Yeah.
fingers in the
Oh,
right
yeah.
placement.
Yeah, you kind of hook it almost like a bowling ball, but instead of going under, you're going over. And, dude, my brother, he threw that thing so hard at me. I tried catching it. He hit me right in the chest, and I just flew back. It was like a movie. I like went back like 5 feet in the air, just flying back. So it hurt, and I was like, "You're the master. Teach me."
What do the kids play now?
I don't even know. Do they even do recess?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
That's a great question.
I think
don't
they play
pay that much attention.
like
yeah, no, like my daughter has recess.
Yeah.
Like they'll play
Okay.
on the jungle gym and stuff.
yeah,
They'll swing.
I think it's limited. There's more laws
Hopscotch.
so that people don't get hurt, which isn't good. I think it's good to kind of get hurt a little so you test your boundaries a little bit.
I agree with that. I think every once in a while, you got to take a beating in
I think so. It helps.
some way or something. But I just had the thought of hopscotch. That's still a thing.
Okay.
You know,
I
I
didn't
don't
know that.
know. I just feel like maybe recess should have evolved somehow from
Mm-hmm.
like hopscotch, because my daughter's drawing hopscotch on the driveway.
Okay. I think that's good. That's more the
Well,
mind.
hopscotch is good. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I feel like maybe they would have created like a cooler recess style game like pobscotch.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I never did that. I don't know. So
You
there was
never
those
did
kids.
hopscotch?
Yeah, I stayed away from that because it was. I mean, that's probably why I'm
on.
not so good at planning.
I'm only laughing because I know your personality and I know like why you might stay away from hopscotch. But what were the things besides dodgeball? What about scramble? Did you ever have scramble?
We didn't have scramble, but while you were talking about hopscotch, I was thinking about wall dodgeball,
Wall dodgeball.
and that was the worst. I mean, it's like basically assassinating people. So people lined up on the wall. You have these people up against the wall,
Right on.
and if they catch your ball, then they come out. You go up against the wall, and then they're throwing at you. But I mean, you'd hit some people so hard. I mean, they're up against the wall,
They'll hit
so
the
it's
wall.
very severe. Yeah, it's pretty
So if you hit them in the head, like there's like a brick wall.
stuff could happen.
There's like a
Yeah,
brick wall.
Yeah,
and then, like,
damage could happen.
that's not
Yeah,
good.
yeah. And so you'd calculate that damage. So that's what in hopscotch you're calculating. What's my best move? And that's probably pretty good for like life skills. I'll admit.
Right on.
I was just worried about how can I make their head hit the wall? How do I throw it so hard to cause the most damage?
Right on. I like it.
Yeah.
So you're talking calculations,
Yeah.
and you're a man of calculations because
Little
you're
bit.
an artist.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. So the calculations in the art world are a little bit different than the practical world.
Yep.
Right. So the two different places a little bit. I guess they could relate somehow, but a little bit different world because I guess in the art world, you've got to calculate psychology. How do people perceive? What is that? And the sympathetic nervous system. How do they perceive in a place that they don't normally think during the day?
Right.
Right? So it's a different type of calculation. So I'm working in a different place. I'm trying to maneuver into their mind where they're not used to, or something like that. So they can stare at a thing for a while and say, "What is this?" And I'm making that happen. I'm making them ask that question: "What's happening? Why do I feel a thing? What's going on?" Right? So that's the art world a little bit, I guess you could say. Yeah.
That's all you had to say about that.
There's probably
Because
more.
I have nothing on that.
Yeah.
I thought there might be more.
Like it's like okay, how could I go about this? Hopscotch.
Because there's always more. There's
Yeah.
always, you'll have a thought, and then like you'll stop your thought,
Yeah.
and then it's like, but you gotta feed me more because I know.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
have a-
Okay.
Like
I'll go with more.
Yeah.
So, classical music, like there's fugues in classical music, right?
Yep.
Fugue, right? I'm probably saying that wrong, but there's a fugue. So many different. I'm not a classical music. I don't.
What?
Well, I like it. I like it.
how could you even? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
It's good.
Well, it's good. So I listen to it, eating dinner or whatever. I don't know. Sometimes. So
You listen to classical music. Sorry, I just I don't know what happened. Good. Thanks for listening so far.
yeah.
I appreciate it.
Thanks. See you guys.
You listen to classical music during dinner?
Yeah, yeah. So I try, and then I get made fun of by my family. So like everybody's like, "What is this?" But it's weird because I did a test run. We were sitting there with dinner. We had some people over, like someone like my son's girlfriend, stuff like that, and everybody's quiet. And we're eating. You can hear everybody eat, and the TV's on in the background. Everybody seemed uncomfortable. So like, this is weird. It's not working. I shut the TV off. I put classical music on. Something began to happen. I got made fun of for playing classical music by pretty much everybody in my family, which is cool. Getting made fun of is all right. But they all began to talk. They all began to communicate. They all had fun. They all kind of opened up in a different way. And it was nice to see that happen. So I played that trick, right? So that's what that art thing is. So going back to that fugue thing.
So like, but hold up. So like,
Okay.
you being made fun of
Yeah.
wasn't like to you, like, oh, you're not like taking all these stabs or jabs. Like, you're not looking at it like that. You are like perceiving like, okay, but my family opened up and now
Yeah.
they're kind of communicating with each other, even on a topic, even if it's about me and they're like poking fun or whatever, but they're all engaging with each other.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And that's really, that's good.
Yeah, so that's better. So
kinda
I know
neat.
better. The made fun of doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You got to let that roll off your skin. And a lot of people get upset about that.
Yeah, a
type
lot of
stuff.
people don't like. I love roasting people.
Yeah.
I love whenever people make fun of me. I don't know what that is. I love it when people make fun of me. Like even now, I'm like using my hands, and if somebody were to be like, "Hey, this is what you're like. You go like this." I mean, I will sit back. I will start laughing.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why I love it, but I love it, and I feel like roasting people or like making fun of people is a really great way to honor. Because I just wouldn't make fun of somebody I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I can make fun of you, and I think you'd be okay with
Yeah.
it. you
I don't
know?
like it. No, that's right. I'll get embarrassed and
Call
shut
them
down.
BS.
I'll shut down. No.
Right? Yeah. No, I doubt that. I doubt that.
No, I think that's good because if you care for a person, you can kind of do that, and it shows some camaraderie a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
I think it shows like a closeness.
Yeah.
Like anyway, but so you were going somewhere else.
Oh
Sorry,
yeah.
I didn't mean to interrupt
So it's kind of on the deeper side, but I don't know, fugues, right? So
Fugues.
I don't know, Mozart, Beethoven put these multiple levels of music together. The trumpets do this, the violins do this. They're on different tempos and beats, but then you layer them all on top of one another, and it's beautiful. It becomes a thing. It becomes they're all these different integral parts that come together, and they're very stimulating. They're naturally stimulating. Vivaldi, I'm probably saying that wrong. The Four Seasons, for instance, really popular classical song. It's like 40 minutes long or something like that. It's in a lot of movies, different clips. Anyway, so that's part of fugue. We like that. So we don't really analyze, this is why I like it. It's because they talk about being bad, or we don't talk about, when I say being bad, like rap music, Drake, so he's like a Disney character basically. And now he's talking about being tough or from the streets or whatever, and that's cool and all, whatever. Vivaldi, or I'm probably saying that wrong, so he put something together that psychologically goes inside of each and every single person, each human. You can't help it. It does a thing. It stimulates something. It stimulates parts of your mind that you're not used to getting stimulated. Like exercise. If you don't exercise, you're going to think it's horrible, right? You never exercise, you go into exercise. But it's doing something extremely great for your body. You just don't like it. But just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's extremely good for you. Right? Classical music, art, very much the same thing. The more you do it, the more you look at it, the more you begin to see, whoa, something's happening. These people are talking about something greater. They're stimulating a part of my being, my human being, that is profound and is bigger than my smaller, shallow thoughts.
We can even go on that because art does that. It really like goes into the depths of humanity. Like a painting, like you're painting. You're like if you've got a painting on a wall somewhere, it's like it's not just there for decoration. There's something in there, and I mean that could be said for all artists, but it's like it tugs like on the innards, like it gets to the depths of human, and it doesn't matter what type of brain that particular human has. They might, if they stop and look at it, something is going to like tug on them. It seems more often than not. I would say.
Well, I try. I think there's a lot to say there. I try to distill.
Yeah, I didn't mean to like open up a big door.
Yeah, I could talk about that for a long time. And there's so many.
I thought we
arenas.
said we weren't going to get too deep. I thought we were.
No. Let's have fun with this. And now we're talking about psychology and stuff. I think it really does go back to psychology a little bit. I try to distill my own psychology, and so my paintings, they're not just whether it's a raven or a series of ravens and birds, or whether it's a bridge, or whether it's even a portrait or whatever. I try to distill an emotion, right? So distilling, very important part of art making. So I'm distilling a situation and offering it to you, right? So some of the best things are distilled water, distilled, are alcohol and whatnot, right?
Yeah,
So a distilled makes us does something to us. So anyway,
We like distilled.
yeah, distilled is good, right? So so distilling something, creating an image that helps represent whatever I'm trying to distill, an emotion, a feeling. What I realized is whatever I'm going through as a human, if I can distill that, try to grasp a moment of that, offer that to the canvas, it works out on the canvas, then offer that canvas to a person or art gallery or museum or art fair or whatever it is, something happens. Things begin to communicate to other people. And other people might connect their own things to it, all right? So might get a dozen stories about my painting. They're like, what is it really about? And sometimes I'll just say, that was enough. What your story was.
Because
is enough.
that is something that I've picked up on, like being with you at art fairs and stuff. Because you and I have been friends for a little bit now, and so I've been to the art fairs and different things, and a lot of the times, like you'll get so many different perspectives. Like it's speaking to people in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's no one way.
Yeah.
And that's what art does, is it speaks to somebody on their level or on a level that they might not realize where they're at.
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, boom. And then they'll like translate that to you and you're like, that was perfect.
Yeah.
Like you don't ever try to, no, that's not what that's not what this piece is about.
Yeah.
That's no, I painted this because there's nothing like that. Like you want it to speak to people where they're at.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's just amazing to me that that's what art does.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. It's weird because I'm blessed. I'm privileged to have that gift. But then again, it's hard because it doesn't necessarily make a lot of money or something like that. Right. But anyway, it's great that I have that privilege to be able to do so. Other cultures, that would be the highest thing, right? So Indian culture, like Native American Indians, that's the highest thing. So those are sometimes the leaders within their civilization. These people that can do that. And I'm not saying I'd be a leader by any means. I'm horrible with politics, right? I even did a whole.
I've heard your rants.
Yeah. So my whole politics is kind of strange, but anyway. So yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. I don't even know where we got off somewhere.
Yeah.
Back to the kickball thing. No, I'm kidding. So let me ask you this. I don't know, I'm like going through all the paintings that you've done. Mm-hmm. You do locomotives. You did the train tracks, which look like not train tracks. And I wasn't the only person to say that.
Okay.
Am I right? I mean,
right.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but other people saw the same thing that I saw in those train tracks. They kind of split.
Yeah.
And there was two train tracks coming together. Mm-hmm. And like, what is that? What was the thing in the train track? Like the shifter. What do you call that? And
the switch.
The switch.
Mm-hmm.
So the train track on the switch. It looked like. Should I say it? I don't even know.
I'll say it. How about I say it?
I would love to hear how you would describe it.
So I'll say it because I'm more conservative, right? So it'll probably be different coming from me. Okay. So could this be edited where it could show, like while I'm talking about it, show the image of it?
Maybe.
Or something like that?
Maybe, but I don't know, maybe.
Okay.
But I don't want to say what it looks like.
Yeah.
And then show the image. It would almost be a little bit more fun to kind of lead up to like, hey, it looks like something.
Yeah.
And then we show the image and then maybe people can comment on it or something and see what.
So should I not say?
Let them decide. No, I don't want you to say it.
Okay. I won't say it.
It looks like something.
Yeah.
But we'll let you decide.
Yeah. I've had many comments on what they think it looks like. And that's fun. What's really cool is I had no idea. Like I had just no idea that train tracks, the switch, two lines coming together. There's a switch in the middle. Things coming together.
Well,
idea.
Before you sold that painting, right?
Yeah.
You sold the locomotive that you did around the same time. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I remember they were hanging in your house, mm-hmm. And I remember like sitting there, and I'm looking at the paintings, and I think we were having like a group session or something. Like we were having people over, and we were talking about God and like it and like what is happening around us and what is, we get really deep. But I remember looking at the the locomotive above and then the tracks and like going, dude, if I could afford it, I would buy both of them.
Yeah.
Because it spoke so much. It was just kind of like the train is coming and you can't stop it. And like we just have to take it.
Yeah.
So yeah. We want to hear your comments on all this. Anyway, maybe we'll post both of them.
Okay.
But anyway, it spoke to me on a really freaky deep level.
Yeah.
Like it was really, really cool.
Okay. How about I do this then? So without naming.
And what I mean by the train, I meant like by like industry. Industry's coming.
Oh,
you know
okay,
what I'm saying?
okay.
Like
Yeah.
industry's coming, white man's coming.
Yeah.
Like we're like it's happening. Like you guys just better get
Yeah.
used to it, and like you just have to take it. And like now, like we're just all
Okay.
crazy in digital world and technology and stuff.
So you want to go the industry route rather than like what a train
I don't
coming at
care.
you with like the switch.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
You go wherever you want to go. Talk on both points.
I'll do a little bit of both, I guess. I don't know what time we have, but I'll do a little bit of both. So
Yeah,
the
go
train
for
in
it.
the industry, one of my bigger influences was William Turner. Turner talked about that, and actually a lot of the Enlightenment era was about the warning of industrialization and what happens when you what's it called when you kind of group everybody together, have them do one particular thing. So what is the word? I can't think of the word. Yeah, we good on time.
Yeah.
Dang it. You have to cut this out. I want to think of the.
We're not going to cut this out.
Okay.
We're just going to. He's thinking
Conformity,
of the word.
right?
Conformity.
So industrialization is going to kind of group everybody together as workers. We got conformity that happens, and then there's this ideal culture and stuff like that happens out of that, rather than just finding yourself. So you find yourself in the culture and through work ethic, rather than being out in nature, just finding yourself through the world, through stomping in a mud puddle, hearing birds, trees whistle, and actually seeing chaos, right? So seeing chaos in the nature, right. That's a very big thing. So seeing chaos and actually accepting the chaos, and that this world is made up of that. The trees fall and might hurt a thing. Animals eat each other, right? So the things you find out in the world. Animals eat each other all the time. Eagles kill this, they're killing fish, and whatever they do to survive. All of this stuff happens, right? And then we get upset when a human does a thing, something like that. We get kind of butthurt about that. Anyway, okay. So industrialization, though, that's a big warning. William Turner, Emerson, all these people in the Enlightenment kind of provided, gave a heads up before it actually hit. And one of his paintings, it was in actually Blade Runner 2049, rain, steam, smoke, or something like that. It's in the back, so if you haven't seen it, it goes along with the meaning of the movie and everything like that. So,
Dead Man was another movie, Johnny Depp. That kind of okay.
yeah.
That's all.
So
Yeah.
it's a common thing. So these talks are common. So it's not just something I came up with or figured out. I looked at history, right? So which is another thing. Look at history and what people have talked about before, and you can kind of re-mention it again, right? So and history isn't just it happened back then, so it's not going to happen now. Like we are human. The human aspect happened back then, and so the human aspect happens now, right? And we're primitive. Right? We have a primitive part of our brain. We still have the part of our brain that survived as cave beings. We are going to kill a thing if it is going to potentially come against my family, take food away from me. We still have that part of our brain. And if you don't activate that part of the brain, something happens which actually lessens you, I think. So you have to activate that. You have to work with that a little bit. So that's what with the art.
But that's not to say to go out and like kill
No,
people.
don't kill people. Don't do that. Don't do anything.
But you have to
horrible,
tap into it somehow in order to
Yeah.
survive and to protect.
Yeah, you look at all the anxiety and depression nowadays, right? We're getting serious now, right?
Oh, dude, we said we weren't gonna get serious.
All the anxiety and even the
get
anxiety in
serious.
myself, which is weird. Anytime I went to a counselor, they were like, "Practice your art." There was no real answer for any anxiety or depression. It was, "Do your art more." Which then goes to, I have to face those particular things. I wanted to run away from any primitive feeling. And they're like, go see it. Go look at that primitive feeling and make something about it, right? And so I think we all have to activate that. Whether you're a hunter, right? So you viscerally feel that you're hunting. You get the deer. You feed your family. You feel accomplishment. You provide. I make artwork that also kind of goes into the primitive a little bit, right? So it kind of reminds us of particular states of being. So yeah, I think that we all have to kind of work there a little bit.
Yeah.
A little in a moral way. Yeah.
In a moral way,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, we don't want to go out and kill. No, that's really good though. And I don't know. I guess the only, I mean, that was very. I don't even know, like what I can even lead into. But something did kind of like when you talk about the primitive and stuff. Is that where? Because you haven't always done animals, but you've started doing horses and birds and like things like that.
Yeah.
Is that part of this? What you're saying, like the idea of.
It's a little bit.
Because if you have industry, like you have industry in your artwork, with locomotives and train tracks, bridges, you do a lot of bridges, but then you also have animals. And so like there's instinct in animals.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like
Oh, yeah.
these birds,
Yeah.
I remember looking at the bird picture or the bird painting,
Yeah.
and you have really dark, painted black birds, and then you have gray birds, and they're kind of like almost coming out of each other.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then you take that, you took a picture of birds that were just kind of swarming in a circle.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So, I guess we'll go with the birds for a minute.
Yeah.
Birds. So where I live.
Did that go too off track of what you were saying? Or
No, it's exactly it, because it goes back to Emerson or something like that, with like going out in nature, right?
Right.
So self-reliance, all that type of stuff. So finding out what's good with where I'm at, right? So I'm in the Midwest, right? I'm not in
Right.
Paris, I'm not in New York, I'm not in Chicago, I'm in the Midwest. But anyway, what I found is that in the Midwest, there's beautiful things that happen. So this flock of birds would go for miles from in one direction, you could see it into the horizon, lined up, so a line of birds flowing all together. Right? So this line of birds flowing all together into particular one direction. They're going north or south. I forget what time of the year it is. So they're going one direction or another, right? So we know they go north and south. But they're working together. And they're not talking to each other. They're not saying, "Hey, Steve, you're going too far. You're going too fast. Slow down, Steve," right? They have this communication skill that is nonverbal. There's this thing, they're connected to the magnetic the magnetic field and all of this stuff. They're sensing particular waves within fields that we don't even see. Right. And I thought that is absolutely beautiful, to see a connection that happens within a group, and they're all individually different, but then they're all the same because they're birds, right? And what an example of that, right? Humans, if you go from state to state, they have different ideas. They hate each other, right? If you're red or blue, you hate each other. If you are potentially from a different country, a different color, you might hate. But here's these birds, very simple, surviving, right? If you were to take away all of our technology and stuff like that, you might need to survive, right? So what's that do? It brings you back to something primitive. So anyway, okay, long story short, I could go there for quite a while. I believe that was a small connection, a small glimpse of something very beautifully working together within a system, within nature that's natural, and there's a connection not just between them communicating, this is a good idea, but knowing deep down, according to rotation of the planet, the magnetic field from the iron core that happens in the center of the planet, shifts within the axis tilt, right, of the earth, right, because it tilts, and that's how we get our seasons, because we're actually further away from the sun in the summer. We're actually closer to the sun in the winter, so it's our tilt. Birds know all of this,
Right.
and they communicate that, right? So anyway, the birds, that's one reason for the birds. Horses, also the intuition, the power, the majestic element within horses, the same type of communication that they have within one another, right? And then we tame that. We, as humans, we take that away. We want to control that primitive thing, right? So let's take that energy. It's beautiful, and let's minimize it from its natural place and change it so that I can make money off of it or something like that, right? So anyway, the freedom within the horses, the birds, the trains as well is both the trains and the industrial stuff is both a commentary on our own ingenuity in what we did to get ahead at one point, and then now what to do different to get ahead, right? So we can't do another industrial revolution. We're using up our resources. How can we change that and do something more natural? Birds, horses, things like that.
So I'm going to have to call this because we're almost out of time,
Okay.
I think. But that could be like, maybe we'll leave that off for a second.
Okay.
If you want to come back on sometime.
Oh, yeah.
But let me ask you this real quick.
Okay.
When it comes to industry paintings and bird or animal paintings or whatever it is, are you somewhere else mentally, spiritually, versus like whenever you're doing a locomotive painting? Are you somewhere else mentally and spiritually versus when you do like a horse or a bird painting? Is it like, do you find something over here in your spirit or in your
That's
in
a
your
good question.
brain where you're like, oh man, I'm really connecting with this on the I want to do an animal, or I really see something beautiful in that, but then like you'll see the locomotive or the tracks or whatever, the bridge, and you're like, I'm over here.
Yeah.
Is there light and darkness in there?
That's a good question. A little bit different. There's also a lot of similarities. The similarity is that you've got a white canvas. It's flat. It's white. It's horrible feeling. It's white, flat, solid. There's no movement. There's no depth. It's cold. It's rigid. It's not good, right? So I've got to distort it. I've got to provide space. I've got to push into it, push out, make your brain see direction, see change, see something develop, see something deconstructed. I've got to make your brain think those things, right? So with the industrial stuff, it's a little bit more. I don't know. Boy, there's the power and the thing about the power, the motion, the ambition, all resides the same. I guess when I'm doing birds or doing something with animal or nature, I have to be just a little bit more subtle, a little bit softer. And that's why I like the trains and bridges, because I can get very aggressive with the thing. It's a little bit more rough, right? If you've been on a train, it's a rough ride or something like that. So it's a little bit more rough. It's a metal, it's solid edges, hard edges. I've got to know when to create a solid edge or break down, soften the edge. But with nature, something from life, you've got to know when to. It's a little bit more of a whispering through the painting.
A bit more delicate.
Yeah.
You've got man-made, and then you've got natural creation.
Yeah.
That's really
a little bit of a
incredible.
difference there.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be all the time that we have right now. But let's do it to be continued.
Okay.
And I will challenge our viewers, listeners. You can subscribe on YouTube and listen into Untapped.podbean. Maybe, I don't know yet. We'll figure it out, but we'll get you there. And then also take a look at. We're going to try to find some stills of your locomotive and the tracks, and then tell us what you think, what you see in those. So until next time.